of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call the roll, please.
Underwood,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Gilman,
Yes.
Lehman,
Here.
Mauser.
Here. Okay, we need an approval of the agenda, and there notice that there is a blue sheet here. Everybody aware?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for the addition of blue sheet.
Second. Have a motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Brown,
Yes.
Gilman.
Yep.
Lehman,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Mauser.
Yes. Conflict of interest. Does anyone have a conflict of interest that they would wish to declare at this time? Hearing none. This will bring us to our first public comment.
Any person may make an advance appointment with the board regarding road commission topics for a regular or special meeting in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. If an appointment is made, the topic will be an agenda item. The following applies to public comment. Please state his or her name and address. Topic must be relevant to the road commission. Individuals are allowed to speak once for up to 3 minutes on a single topic, which may be extended by the chair. A group addressing the board requires a designated spokesperson who may speak up to 10 minutes. The board will not act on any item from the public that is not on the agenda. For Zoom users that wish to participate, please raise your hand. For call-ins, we will unmute, and if you wish to speak, say yes.
And we have one hand raised. Cheryl Olson, if you could unmute, you're allowed to speak.
Hi, this is actually Dan Olson. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Dan Olson. I live at 14795 Mallard Drive, Traverse City. I'm also a board member of the Mission Hills Homeowners Association, and I know that most of you in the room know me, with the exception of perhaps the 2 new board members. But I just wanted to check in with you folks and just kind of give you an update of where we're at with our homeowners association and our efforts along the shoreline. As most of you know, the Mission Hills subdivision owns 2 lots on the closed portion of Bluff Road. And one of those lots, the waterfront lot, has about 350 feet of waterfront frontage. And so we've been looking, just by way of update, 2 positive things is we've been getting bids for doing some shoreline protection work along our entire 350 feet that the homeowners association owns. And in the course of getting those bids, we're hoping that we can present something to our homeowners association for approval once we have those bids and can evaluate them. The other thing is just walking the shoreline in the last month, the water levels have been dropping, which actually allows, you can actually walk along that southern portion where the road closure is, where the erosion has gone into the road right-of-way area. You can actually get on the ground and walk that area. So that's a positive sign that there's going to be some potential to be able to do some shoreline work this spring from the ground level and water area there. So those are 2 positive things. One of the things I wanted to bring to the commissioner's attention is one critical bit of information and guidance that we're looking for that's important to us is in receiving these bids from contractors. The big question is, what's the degree of access that they will be able to have to perform that shoreline protection work? And I know that our main point of contact for the homeowners association, Mike Skursky, has been communicating with Chief Engineer Wayne Schoonover, and I understand that there's still an ongoing process right now of GEI's consulting work, and there's going to be a period of time where you guys are waiting for information from them, but just wanted to highlight that we're eagerly waiting for, as soon as you folks can provide our contractors and us some guidance on what degree of access they can have to perform that work. That would be greatly helpful to us to be able to evaluate those bids. Obviously, if they have to barge something in, that's going to be an added cost of what we're looking at. And so there have been some proposals that would encompass building down that ramp on that south part where that has eroded, and that would permit getting some equipment actually on the shoreline. And so that was one of the proposals that a contractor identified as a possibility. But again, they're going to also need to work from the top of the road as well. So as soon as you folks can provide us some information on that and the access issue there for contractors, that would be very helpful to us. And so perhaps if, you know, this, when you get to the manager report, if you folks are able to talk about that, that would be great. But I just wanted to bring that to your folks' attention and let you know that, you know, we're moving forward with, you know, being able to do some work along our shoreline, which would benefit what your efforts are as well on Bluff Road. And so I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions, I'll stay on here for a moment unless you have some questions.
Anybody have any questions? It's not according to normal format, but usually a public comment.
Wayne is working with it,
Yeah,
Joe.
That's what, I want to make sure they know we are definitely moving in that direction.
Yes, they are both working together.
Good.
I think, speaking for myself and the rest of the board, we would certainly be as cooperative as we
Yeah.
possibly can.
Yeah, we'll work with them.
We want the best outcome.
Great, thank you.
Is there anybody else? Joe?
There are no hands raised right now.
Okay, so we wait 30 seconds anyway?
No, we've already had 30
Already had,
seconds.
only one 30-second wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have no further public comment. Okay.
This
Oh,
is-
we have one other item in public comment. There was a letter received. The letter was distributed to all commissioners in their packet. It has been read and it shall be filed and is available for public viewing.
We have to wait for,
No.
she said 20 seconds.
Who said
20 seconds? Here. Oh, on the screen.
Okay.
So,
So, yes, for that. Okay.
okay, that's 20 seconds.
All right,
We can
20
move on.
All right,
Thank you.
Move on. Item 6. 6A, appointments, no scheduled appointments. Assume that has not changed, so on to the consent calendar. So we go back to the clerk.
The consent calendar is used to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together without discussion. Request by any person present to remove any items from the consent calendar for full discussion, as agenda items are automatically respected. The action noted in parentheses for all the items remaining on the consent calendar are approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. The manager recommends the following items be adopted. 1, minutes. 2, payroll. 3, accounts payable. 4, financial reports. 5, reports and communications. And 6, bids for 2021 annual materials and services and 2019 preventative and heavy maintenance contracts.
Okay, are there any items in the consent calendar which any commissioner wishes to see pulled for further review or discussion? Is there any member of the public that's possibly Zooming or would care to comment? We have no hands raised.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar as presented.
We have a motion from Brown. Support Joe Underwood. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Hillman?
Yep.
Lehman?
Yes.
Underwood?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mauser?
Yes. Okay, there are no items removed. Let's get past C. Okay, item D, east-west corridor. We'll zip the OHM will discuss boardman corridors, FPEL. I guess it says WS, so I guess Wayne will be,
Wayne and Bill's it.
will tag team that, D, yeah? Okay.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Wanted to just give you some updates on the East-West Corridor, the focused Pell update here. December was kind of a short month, but we still managed to remain quite busy and got quite a bit done. Met with MDOT, FHWA, and the EPA via Zoom. And we're able to get a lot of good input from them. The feds especially, they have a lot of questions and concerns, and we are on the right path, but we have to be very diligent in making sure that we're following all these steps and proper outreach. While preparing for the initial focus, the stakeholder groups in early February, and we do have a public meeting planned for in early March. We're in the process of gathering comments and for the draft purpose and need statement. We are updating the constraints map with parcel and land use information. We've been working on the base traffic modeling and to feed that into the alignment evaluation. We've moved into the concept alignment preparation phase, and that's based on the constraints map and developed with knowledge coming from the LAG, the local agencies groups, and from the Road Commission. One of the kind of the long list here was we've reviewed through the draft scope revisions in order to address some outreach plan updates that the OHM team felt was necessary. In short, it's primarily revised for the public meeting concept to have that first public meeting after the development of the conceptual alternatives. If you remember, we had our first LAG meeting that inadvertently was made public, thanks to the press, but we handled that anyways, and I think it worked out rather well. It is felt though that we, with the public, to have more input once these alternatives are identified. Without those, it's going to be more difficult to kind of show that we have moved beyond these, the previous East-West Corridor study. So looking at these revisions, added up some additional coordination meetings with FHWA and MDOT. We've got some additional compensation is not requested for the proposed scope revisions. So no changes in price, just some meeting changes and some tweaking of the public engagement process. And I did include in your packet there an update. It's dated January 11th of the Gantt chart for the scheduling there. So some of those upcoming meetings in February here for the stakeholders focus group, that first meeting, and the OHM team is working with Networks Northwest on that. And we also have tonight, I asked our lead contact person with the OHM team to, if he could kind of be present, and Mr. Bill Zip is with us tonight via Zoom, and give you a chance to kind of meet with him, and if he wants to maybe kind of elaborate, maybe anything in regards with what some of the more interesting things that we're finding, and give an update on that. So I'll turn it over to Bill.
I don't see me up there. Hi, Wayne. Hi, board members. This is Bill Zip with OHM. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
We can see you and we can hear you.
All right. I can't see, so I don't know what I look like. So I hope I look okay. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I like to be in person. I'm hoping that sooner or later I'll get a chance to attend these board meetings in person. I like to see people. I like to shake hands. I like to be in front of people. But given today's society, that's not possible. So we're all rolling with it, as you know. I'm the project manager for the OHM team. I have a lot of years experience with OHM. I started with them in '86 and left after 20 years, and then came back early last year to, I feel, my home. I'm really pleased to be working for OHM and very pleased to work on this project. Wayne and Bill Mauser have been involved pretty much from the beginning, and they've been very helpful for us. I really appreciate from all the OHM team. Really appreciate all your help, coordinating things, getting us answers when we need it, and moving forward. To elaborate on some of the stuff that Wayne just talked about, he indicated that we've been working to get compiled comments on our draft purpose and need. Well, today we just, a real good update, we just got comments from MDOT and Federal Highways. And so our draft purpose and need is moving forward again, and we'll have hopefully a revised draft to you, Wayne, and the board very shortly. We have for the new board members, I'm not sure how much you know. I'm assuming that you know that you've been brought up to speed with the previous project, and that this Focus PAL project is a continuation of that. We have done some boots on the ground evaluation, which was not done in the previous one. So we were able to get a lot more information on impacts to the ground and to the surrounding environment than we're able to have obtained last time. We are working right now, working on a traffic modeling aspect of the project to assess the need from a traffic perspective. We have other needs. Emergency management systems is a big part of one of the needs that we have, and we're working right now with Networks Northwest to gather contact information for EMS, and we're going to have a focus group meeting coming up very soon. February 8th is on the target that week of. Hopefully we're going to be able to make that. We're also going to have focus group meetings with the school district and the transit authority up there as well, because their routes could be altered depending on what we do, and we're trying to find out what they need. Their input into the purpose and need is going to be very vital. How have their travel demands or their demands to get across the river basin been hampered in the past, and will a different crossing or an enhanced crossing help them do their jobs better? One of the things we got out of our meetings with the Federal Highway Administration and MDOT is more of a focus on future to the west and to the north. So we have we are starting the alignment assessment, and as in parallel with the development of the traffic modeling to if we need to get across the river in a different location or an enhanced location, we want to know where that can be. And that's one of the reasons we did boots on the ground evaluation. What I'd like to do is share my screen, if that's all right, Joe. I'm going to try this, and I want to just to show what we have in our preliminary constraints map. Okay, hitting the share button right now. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, this is our preliminary constraints map. The bold orange line is our project study area. The generalized area bounded by US 31 on the east, and east of Keystone, generally Keystone on the west, goes up to South Airport Road on the north and goes all down to Beitner Road on the south. The very specific boots on the ground analysis, the ecology study is listed here, is in this blue dashed area. This is where GEI, our sub-consultant, very experienced group, Stu Kogi, if you know him, he's former state employee, high level guy, really sweet guy, really nice and very intelligent. His group is very versed in this area, and they looked at every aspect of the ecology in this area: water, species, trees, anything dealing with the ecology, they were on the ground looking at it. And that's what this picture represents. I'm going to zoom in on this area just to give you a, just a better picture of what they did. They identified wetland areas, as you see in the green hatch. They identified all the streams. They identified fen, which is a high quality wetland area. I'm not the ecologist, I'm a road design guy, but these red areas are no, don't touch areas. Basically, as we were told by the federal agencies. And so that's very key to any alignment alternative that we have through this area. We also added trails. I better zoom back out because I want to see my legend. Yeah, we identified trails, parks, multi-use paths. What is this? Yeah, parks. Okay, so identified all of the ecological features in this area. We did because of the need to cross from Keystone somewhere to US 31. We did a more of a windshield survey, the records survey, but this would be GEI did this. They know the area, they know the people. They were actually out and drove some of these roads and got out of their car with permission from the property owners and did some element of boots on the ground. So they have analyzed wet areas, streams in this area here, because getting from one side to the other, we're going to have to cross this area eventually if we do end up with a need to cross. And so what we found is there isn't as much, but there are certainly elements of the ecology and the environment that we need to avoid. Like I indicated, we are in the early stages of alignment assessment. We've done an internal gathering of all the minds and looked at alternatives, potentials in this whole area, including the Hartman-Hammond straight across alignment, the old Sabin Dam alignment, the Cass Road, expanding on the Cass Road alignment, at least crossing the river, and then all the way over to US 31. So we have a variety of alignment alternatives that we could be looking at. We're not at this point liberty to show them because they're still in our brains. Wayne indicated that we have requested a change in our scope partially because of the way the first lag meeting went with the public being involved. It made us think, do we really need to have a public meeting, a first public meeting without other, because basically what the first meeting is where the other job, all they know is what they heard from the other previous East-West Corridor project. So it didn't make any sense for us to go to them until we have something for them to chew on, which is what we're planning on doing. So we've eliminated the first public meeting. We've engaged some additional meetings with coordination meetings with the feds and other resource agencies. And what we got out of the feds is that focus to the north and to the west, and we are working to engage that area a little bit more. Alignments that we have will make more sense to hit travel patterns in that area to the north and to the west. My mouth is dry. I've done a lot of talking. I'm wondering if there's any questions that I can answer at this point. Might generate some more conversation. I'll leave this constraints map up if you'd like.
I've had the benefit of sitting through a number of these meetings already, the preliminaries, so there's other things that I've seen and heard, but those who weren't in attendance, if you've got either general or specific, I guess. Okay.
Overall, I think it's moving well.
I'll take that as we're moving along well, and we hope to continue the process and the progress.
Was that a question for me, Bill? I didn't quite understand it. Okay.
We're just
Sorry.
saying, we're doing well. We're all happy.
Yes, yes. And again, I wanted to reiterate your input, Bill, on the board level is very valuable. I appreciate that. And I hope you continue to assist us in this process. And I'll reiterate Wayne's help. Brad, are you listening? Wayne is a wonderful man and very helpful to us. So I really appreciate his efforts. Did I give you, you can send me a check anytime you want, Wayne.
Noted, Bill, noted.
All right,
Okay. Thanks very much, everybody.
thank you.
And thank you.
Okay, anything further?
No, like I say, it's moving really well. We're finding some good information and we're gonna be moving through this fairly uneventfully, I hope. I mean, we're finding some good information from everything we've done the research on so far.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, even though we have certain restrictions as far as having these various meetings and so forth, that they pushed ahead and created circumstances where we can continue rather than just say, well, we'll wait till later, which I think is not a good thing.
I agree with holding the first public meeting after something's been
Yeah, it makes sense.
crafted to give them,
The public knows the least of anybody right now, in effect. They aren't privy to most of this information unless they come or listen to some of our meetings, which we know how that goes. Okay, I guess we've exhausted that one.
Okay.
Item E is good old salt barn reroll.
Okay, we have a couple of things here coming up, but the salt barn itself, when it was built, wasn't probably done right. This was 20 years ago, long before any of us were here, but we are showing some significant rot on the inside, so we need to have the roof redone. The company that did the roof over this building was the only one who bid on it. It's a very steep roof. It's not an easy roof to do, but Springfield is the only one that was able to bid on this for us. It came in below what we estimated the price to be. And the roofing product that we're using, it's the 15-year. The only difference if we step up to the 20-year, it gets a little bit thicker, but we don't have a lot of weight sitting on that. Everything slides off of it because of how steep it is. So that's the only thing is. And the other thing is we save about $15,000 by going with the white roof. If you want to put it in green like the rest of it, we got to pay $15,000 more just to make the roof green. Well, that price is what I'm recommending of the white roof. That's going to function.
Spend the 15 on salt that goes in the building.
Yeah.
People hiding up in the salt barn where it's nice and cool in the summer.
Yeah. So overall, what we have from them, we put this out to public bid and only got one response, but that is definitely below what we anticipated the costs to be. And I recommend that we approve that and get them on get us on their list so that they can come in here as soon as weather permits.
Okay, any further questions or comments from the board? If not, we'd be looking for a
Well,
motion.
did you see the price? Have you guys seen the price?
Oh, 247,600.
Okay, cool. Okay. It's within the budget, so I'd make a motion, we proceed with the salt.
Do we have a second?
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any other discussion or comment? Hearing none, I guess it's roll call time.
Hammond,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Yeoman,
Yes.
and Mauser.
Yes. Okay, item F, our in-ground truck lift bid. Again,
Okay, two things on this one. Number one, the lifts that we have out there were built with single axle trucks in mind. They are not exactly the best situation for us. Our trucks are bigger than they were 20 years ago. And they figure 20 years is a normal lifespan for the actual hoist portion itself. There is some additional cost in this because we are getting slightly larger so that we can more easily raise up our bigger trucks when we have work to be done. This is expected to be a 20-year investment. And it's at 90,800. We originally forecasted this to be at about 100,000. There will be some internal work, but that we don't usually worry about with the bids process because that we knew was going to happen no matter who did the work. So we'll have to do some internal cleaning of the stuff to get it all ready for them to come in. But that price of 90,800, 10,000 almost less than what we anticipated, and it is a 20-year lifespan. And this is something that we are going to be coming back next year for another one, because we have several hoists out there, and we haven't put dime one into them since we moved into this facility, and they're starting to show their age. So
they're at the place.
they are, yeah. They're not as safe as we would like either, evidenced by one of our mechanical people falling into the pit and taking several stitches across the inner thigh when he fell, because the flooring is not up to current code.
So it's not just the lift itself, but it's the grade.
It's everything around it. It's to replace it and make it more up to code.
Is it like a big pour then and everything?
No, the actual concrete that's there is big enough. It's just a matter of taking out one section to lengthen it.
Got it.
So we won't need to pour anything additional. And if there is a small spot, that's included in their bid.
Is any of this pricing off of My Deal?
There's nothing for it.
My Deal doesn't touch on this?
No.
Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I guess we have the staff recommendation. We would need, I guess, to move forward on this.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion, Underwood, and a second. Alan seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I guess a roll call.
Underwood,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Mauser.
Yes, I say that, this facility has been here for a period of time, and we have seen many of these problems coming for years. And so it's not a big surprise to us. We've been around for a little while. These lists were discussed several years back. Okay, item G, the 2021 Caterpillar 305 mini excavator recommendation.
Okay, I have go up one page there, Joe, hopefully is it my memo to them talks more general.
Purchase recommendations, sorry.
No, he had another one.
Oh, down, that one probably maybe.
Okay,
Yes.
so here's the ballpark of where we stand with the next, all of these things here. So you can see, we are still $15,000 of additional funds left after we do all of these bids here, taking us down through letter I. But basically, the next one we're talking about, this mini excavator is a replacement for a backhoe. Because when we work with a backhoe to get stuff out of the ditch, we're taking up an entire lane. These mini excavators, with the way they are, they'll do as good work as any backhoe will, and they don't take up the whole road.
The swing's different.
The swing is, the swing weight is right over the top of the track. So, yeah, so it's a much better operation for what we have. The main reason we want this too is to deal with culverts, because we have thousands of culverts in this county, and we've not done maintenance on most of them. And last year we started jetting, and we found a lot of culverts that we did not know existed. So we need to be able to have this little thing that we can get out there and still be off the road, rather than closing the road for a mile at a time so they can go to each driveway. This will be a replacement, as I said, for the backhoe, which has definitely outlived its life. So it's got a great warranty on it. We had it out. We brought them in, like a total, I think, of 5 mini excavators for the crews to look at. This is the one they selected, and it actually came in pretty much right where we expected in price. It wasn't drastically far off. So we were real pleased with that, and that's the one that the crew feels most comfortable using on the edge of the road. So the other one that we have coming off of that, go back to that purchase recommendation here. So that, the mini excavator, we were $381 off of our estimate. The mini loader came in substantially higher. Part of that is additional costs that is in the actual machine that was recognized in this year's build for it. The mini loader would be something we would use in the yard in the mornings to get cold patch loaded, because right now trying to load a hot buggy with cold patch with a full-size loader is kind of overkill. But it is also something that is small enough in a lot of spaces that we don't have room to get a real loader into to go in and get material out of areas where we have washouts. And we've noticed that in a lot of areas that we just don't have anything that's gonna work for us. We feel that this is also because this has the high flow hydraulics on it, and we can use a lot of our skid steer attachments on it too. So we can do a lot with this and get a lot more usage out of it than a regular loader would be able to do. And in the past, for the last 4 years, we've spent at least a month's worth of rental on getting equipment that this would eliminate some of that rental cost for us. So we feel like overall, the savings of renting equipment for $4,000 or $5,000 a year is gonna help pay it off. And this is at least an 8 to 10 year investment on this one.
Phil, you approve?
Yeah, I mean, it's got the attachments, you know, the skid steer type attachments and.
Yeah.
They talked to Rick out back and it was originally gonna be more of a yard type of equipment, but after they were talking with operations and it sounds like it's gonna be used quite a bit more with the crew, so.
Yeah.
I stress the utilization.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
because
and
it's
that's what
easy
we
to
push.
pick up a rental.
Yeah, so we have to, and that's what we push. We push utilization because Phil and I are both numbers hawks. We like to look at how can we save money, and that's one of the things. I wasn't about to go out and buy this if we weren't going to put the hours on.
And all the jewelry goes with that outfit, so.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
so you need a motion to approve.
Well, I want to just go over the mower tractor and then we can go and approve all three of them. The mower tractor is the same tractor we had last year. They're holding the price from last year on it. The only difference with this one is it comes with heavy duty brakes and it comes with
A bigger.
a bigger hydraulic pump already built in.
It's on the lot, so with the
So-
one, with the exact specs as, last year's model, the build time took us out in way past summer.
Yeah.
This is on their lot, it has a few more options, they were gonna hold the price, the bid price with those options, but the only difference was the Nokian tires that we typically do, and that'll be another $3,400. That's not gonna be part of the bid, and that's why we're asking more or less.
Yeah.
So we can upgrade the tires at the same time.
Yeah, but otherwise, we're getting a much better tractor actually at the same price and it's sitting on their lot right now. And to wait until October, I mean, that's gonna kill us. That's gonna put us up at least a full year behind of what we need to do for catching up on getting these roads pushed back. And this winter has been great for us. Don't get me wrong, it's been great because we've been brushing
I saw the tractor.
everywhere.
I saw the tractor going out this morning.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've been brush hogging back and trying to get these roads back, but you know, we're 5 years out and just put it out another year, it's problematic. We're having trouble being able to drive our own trucks, and we got a brand new truck wash and brand new trucks, and we'd like to not have them paint scratched off them as we're driving the plow.
Nice thing about those heavier hydraulics, it takes out those political signs so much better too.
Right.
As long as the metal takes it.
That's the way it works.
So-
Same be as the swales and the gravel.
Yeah, so, and because this has all the other options that we know, it's the same one that we bought last year. It's exactly what we need. And we figure again on this is somewhere in the 8 to 10 year purchase. It's gonna take us every bit of 7 years to make it around the county to get all of the brush pushed back. After this one is done and we've done that, if we can find that we're gonna be a maintenance level that's not gonna need to, we'll step down to a smaller tractor for it next time. But right now, we need that power to be able to get stuff cleared 20 feet in the air, 15 feet in the air.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I guess then we need to have,
You have three pieces of equipment, the 2021 Caterpillar 305 mini excavator.
so somebody puts forth a motion, do it, to cover all three.
Okay, so I would move that we approve the purchase of the mini excavator for $69,619 more or less. The mini loader for $103,400 more or less, and the mowing tractor for $153,000 for $468 more or less.
And do we hear support? Support. Okay, we have motion and support. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I guess it's time for another roll call.
Brown,
Yes.
Gilman.
Yep.
Neiman,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Bowser.
Yes. Okay, item J, survey and aerial drone recommendations.
Alright. And I talked to Joe about this earlier today. As drones have come down in price and the ability to collect data from them has improved, it is now at a point where we can afford to get into the drone market and start doing surveying with drones. This is particularly useful for us when we start talking about culverts and we need to get out into swampland to see what's out there and get some stuff videoed. And it's also incredibly accurate. You can put the location on the corner of a parking lot stripe and be within 2 inches of that, right, without ever doing anything. And then you let it sit and you can get down to about 1/4 of an inch accuracy. So this is something that the engineers can use to effectively build roads much easier, survey quicker, and it saves us the time of trying to gather inventory, because these drones have the ability to go over a huge pile and they take such a thick point cloud that they can tell exactly how much volume is in that pile. And we don't have to have Steve out there. Steve's a great guy. He's not as young as he used to be, but trying to climb piles is tough. So, you know, he's anxious to see it. You know, this comes with a lot of different things. If we scroll down here, Joe. So this is basically, we're talking about the total cost for the actual drone is the $7,225. So that includes the case, the Phantom, 4 RTK, and 4 batteries. The next piece is the software. There is a slight maintenance cost, but it's under $400 is what I believe they said, like $399 or somewhere in that. It's very cheap, and that keeps us up to date forever. So it's a one-time purchase of the license. The training is being done by somebody for us from NMC, and we can have as many people as we want. So if you as commissioners want to learn to fly a drone, feel free. Come on out when we're training, and you can learn too. We will be paying the licensing fee to get the FAA license for the people that are needed to have it to do work here that would actively be using the drone here. If anybody else wants to attend the training and they're going to attend it, if they decide they want a license, they're on their own to pay for the license. We're not paying for people's licenses who aren't actually going to use it here at the Road Commission. It does take a very, very powerful computer, because you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of points that have to be mapped out. But once you get that computer and you get it going, it could take still, even with a powerful computer, it could still take several hours. So we're talking about that. We have a location for it in the server room already set. And then there's some training for the CAD guys to get them to be able to take these point clouds after they've been processed and putting them out onto the into CAD environment.
Explain a little more how it operates. I mean, when you say when it's mapping, are we mapping wetlands areas? Are
We can do
mapping
we can do a lot with it. I mean,
and how does it determine those? Does it determine them, you know, like a mouse would over a surface, or does it determine it from?
it is a and correct me if I make a mistake here, Joe, because the drone itself, you say, okay, we want you to fly from here, and you draw your box of what you want, and you say, okay, we want you to go out and survey. And the drone will go out and it'll run back and forth, moving slowly across this whole plane. And it's taking an elevation as it goes, and it's photographing so that you have a total photo map of what you have and the elevations associated with it for the entire area that you determine that you need to have surveyed.
Okay, so this NOR Technologies, they essentially outfit a Phantom 4.
That's just software. That's the $5,000 for
No,
just the software.
okay, so what, I mean, as far as the Phantom 4 RTK,
It's the camera that comes with it.
okay, but the camera determines
There's multiple heads. I know there's one, like there's a thermal head we can get. There's another different, resolution head that we can get. But the one that this comes with is a high resolution camera.
it's high resolution. How does it determine, as you say, the elevations and
Oh,
and
that, yes, that is part of the software then that tells it. That software tells it what the flight pattern needs to be. And it is, we've done it here, we've done a demo. And the difference between what the drone came up with on the pile of sand out there and what Steve came up with was a percent.
So it actually did like a cubic feet calculation
Yes.
of what we have sitting in a pile.
Yeah, and it was like within a percent, and it did it in a quarter of the time.
So that would give us an idea of materials that we might have to remove from a site.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of the practical application of it. Other than being just a toy that the Grand Traverse County Road Commission has. I mean,
The biggest thing is for surveying, and Joe's seen some of the survey results, and it gives you just a great starting point instead of having to have a surveyor out there for the entire thing. And then when you have issues, because we're not really building, when you start talking about curb and gutter, you've got to be a little more accurate. But for what we're looking at, for the survey accuracy that we're talking about, it is there to the point where we will reduce the surveying time drastically.
Could this equipment be utilized in one of our ongoing projects? For example, I mean, we have a lot of elevations and sensitive areas and things that we have to get around and whatnot. Is that something they could use, maybe to save us some money from the study that's going on?
We can definitely collect a lot of information. That would be a discussion to have between, who's using the data and what exactly they need. The other thing is for us too, one of the big savings for us is this drone can go down the center of the road and it can record everybody's driveway before we start construction. So every crack that's in everybody's driveway we have, so that when they come back and tell us, you broke my driveway. Now, see, that was there before we start. So
it's man-hours that we're saving.
Huge, man.
What's the life expectancy of the actual drone?
The actual drone, they're saying probably about 5 to 7 years, depending on how technologically things change and how much use you actually put on. The batteries will wear out. I mean, they're only good for so many cycles, but you can get new batteries. They figure at least 5 if you're looking to get into some of the higher end stuff, but 7 if you can handle where we are with this current mode. You figure 7 years of use.
And my other question that came up after we discussed is, will we going across private property or property you already have the rights to go through, or how is that?
We have, for surveyors, because the whole licensing thing is for them, is they have the right to go for survey. And so this is part of the extension of the survey. It doesn't mean we can go flying through someone's field,
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
but for survey purposes, we have the right to go over. But most of it is within the right of way. Most of what we care about, because we don't work outside the right of way. Once that right of way ends, whatever happens beyond that is beyond.
You brought up using for certain projects.
Yeah, and then we can get
Fly
permission.
over.
We can get permission from people too. So I know the upfront is expensive. There is no question, 22,000, but if you look at what we currently outfit our surveyors with, they're outfitted out about $70,000 worth of equipment for each of them already. This is one for all three of them to be using. And realistically, the only thing is after 5 years, you're going to replace the computer and you're going to replace the drone. The software is paid for, the training is paid for, the licensing is paid for. The targets are reusable until they just get ripped or whatever. And the training to get them up to speed is already paid for. So, you know, you've got maybe in 5 to 7 years, you've got another 10,000 you have to invest. But we will save, my calculations say we'll save that easily in manpower.
Well, the software being a perpetual license, is that something that they will update? I mean,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so you pay a slight maintenance fee. It's like I said, 3 or 4. It was low. Steve was trying to get an exact number and he couldn't get it pinned down from the guy at NMC, but it was under $500. So it was the type of thing you say, okay, yeah, you pay that, but that includes then every update forever. So they just keep updating. And it also includes your support. If you ever have a problem with the software, you call them up. You're on their perpetual license. As a option, they had a year-to-year software, but it was like $2,200. So if you're, in your 3rd year, you're so far higher that it didn't make sense. And we will easily, like I say, the way these things have come along, you look at some of the engineering firms around here, they invested $100,000 in their first drones. And they've just come down, the size has shrunk, and they are just so much more accurate than they ever were.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I doubt this will be the last time this board considers something like this. It's people are expensive. This is modest. And if the staff is comfortable with it, there's got to be a lot of companies likes this.
Well, the other thing is too, bear in mind, we're going to buy this, but that doesn't say that if Traverse City needs to use it, we can't trade Traverse City for something. Because right now we're looking for anything we can trade Traverse City with to keep up with doing our sweeping. Because they have back sweepers. We don't. So we'll trade you off, we'll do all your aerial survey here to take this price off of our backing this year. So we will use it. And when we aren't using it, if other governmental units want to, we'll trade, we'll barter. There's a lot of savings to be had when you start doing that.
I'll make the motion to purchase.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Sure.
Okay, we have a motion and second to approve. Any other last minute discussion or conversation? Hearing none. I guess it's time for a roll call.
Gilman?
Yep.
Lehman?
Yes.
Underwood?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mauser?
Yes. And item K, we have some equipment, I guess, that is being presented to us for disposal. There is
Yes.
a page there listing. Oh,
We need to get down to the list so they can see that. Okay, so effectively, a lot of these are just simply not, they're replacements, it's just the old truck, we're gonna trade it in. The replacement of the backhoe, that's where we were talking about getting those 2 pieces of equipment. And the mower is replacing the mower there, and changing out a few things. The one thing that is noticeable there, that 2018 one-man Durapatcher, we cannot utilize that. It's not going to work. We don't have a place with emulsion close enough to deal with it. And that the Durapatcher is it was an idea to fill potholes. We don't need to be filling potholes with that piece of equipment. We need something that can handle like a trailer mounted Durapatcher used to do. So if we have areas that are broken up, we can do more than just a pothole replacement. So that's the one that unfortunately we need to get rid of.
Pretty new.
Yeah.
What did we pay for that?
Like 2,500.
And it's never worked right. It's $10,000 a year in maintenance for 20 days, if that. It just does not
It hurts
fit.
my feelings because obviously by the year, we must have approved it, when I was on the board.
Sold a bill of goods.
Right, right.
For me, don't blame me.
So we're saying even if we do use it and have used it, it's 20 days a year.
It's expensive to.
We intend to do, and
Yeah, and it's continuously, the problem is with the way we get emulsion, to try and store emulsion outside, that has to stay hot.
So our option
is expensive.
Our option is essentially going back to hauling, a trailer behind and
And that's a better, even the guys in the back say that was better than what they do now. Nobody wants to use this piece of equipment. And they said compared to the trailers, they would rather have the trailer back, and they hated that.
it's those trade shows, they get us every time.
I hope not.
I still have feelings for that python.
I know,
Okay.
right?
And we never-
$5.99, that's stacking right, rack grapple. It's not something we can use. It's just not, doesn't fit for our mode of operation. And then the snow blower, I don't know what happened here or why this was purchased. Apparently it was purchased just to clean Lafreniere Hill heading down to airport.
Well, supposedly there was that plus these other really areas that were known only to some apparently that required it. It seemed like there was a road out Long Lake someplace that was had a high bank on one
Yeah.
side and nothing on the other. And there were, as it was presented, there was a number of places where those in the know could find
You know,
a use for it.
we're gonna sell it, we're gonna need it.
Well, I'll tell you what, honestly, when we clear the hill right now, we go out there with the front end loader and we can do it in 2 scoops of the front end loader. And that's like 2 trips back and forth. To have something that takes 5 hours to put onto the piece of equipment that runs it,
Oh.
and it takes 4 hours to take it off, doesn't make sense. I mean, oh yeah, yeah, because it's a backwards hydraulic system. You have this thing sticking out the front, but the hydraulics stick out the back of the piece of equipment that runs it. So it's got to all go underneath, and you got to reroute all of this stuff. It's ugly. Last year we cleaned the hill 4 times, and it took him about an hour and a half each time at night to do it. Because they do it in the middle of the night. Nobody sees them. They just go, boom, it's gone.
So short of buying something to carry it a little more efficiently.
Which is pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the only things that I think are unfortunate. The rest of it, I mean, we're just at the point where these things are just not. They're costing us more to run than they are to keep.
Opportunity cost of nothing else.
If memory serves me correctly, that John Deere tractor that's listed there was also a piece of equipment that's supposed to solve all our ditching, brush woes at the time as well.
It was just undersized.
Yeah. So that was supposed to be a panacea for the years of neglect of our ditch lines and stuff, and that was gonna be the solution.
Yeah, it just couldn't, it can't handle it. It goes in and it just bogs down, and it's just not practical for what we do. And
I think that was an agricultural build, and
Yeah.
the ones we're getting now are municipal build.
Yeah. But either way, yes, what we thought we were getting and what we apparently got was a couple of things.
like I say, the new one that we have that is gonna be replacing that is phenomenal. The guys love it. They are using it. And like I said, like you said, you saw them out there already in the last week here, couple
I've
days.
seen it a couple times.
Yeah. So
Down
we're
the shores
using
of the road,
it. We
yeah,
could
somewhere.
definitely use a lot more. So those are the ones we're asking for permission to dispose of. It will follow normal commission policies where we will send it out for competitive bids to have purchase prices put in to see who we can get. We think that these Sterlings, there are a couple of road commissions that are way behind us, and they are still using Sterlings, and you can't find parts for Sterlings. So we think, you know,
Parts for.
some of these may turn into parts trucks, but we don't care.
Yeah.
They're beyond our useful lifespan.
So I'm not familiar with this. So you take bids on this stuff or you
Yes.
just?
We put it out on
Pretty
Gov
much
Bids.
listed on GovDeals,
Gov Deals.
which they've been all over the country.
Yeah.
Thank you.
People.
We had a guy, didn't we have a guy come from like Washington State?
And we've done very well with it.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Some of the
Yeah,
stuff
we
is
can set
very
reserves.
Huh? We can set reserves.
Right.
You know, and some of
Well-
like we did on some of the other equipment. Doesn't mean, you know, we'll find another avenue.
I'd like to make the motion that we accept staff recommendation for the disposal of the equipment listed.
I'll support.
Okay, we got motion and support. Any other discussion or comment? Hearing none, I guess we just need a roll call.
Lehman,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Gilman.
Yep.
Mauser.
Yes. Okay, next item is the audit engagement letter. So I guess again, that goes back, well, actually it goes to
This is easy. Last year, we agreed to do a 2-year extension. This would be the second year of that 2-year extension at the same price, same firm. I haven't, had a chance to talk with Peter yet. I imagine some of it will be done remotely with COVID restrictions and things like that, but, he'll probably be out here at least one day field work. Tentatively have it scheduled for February 8th, so just getting all my work papers wrapped up for him and have everything ready, and hopefully we can have that audit report knocked out in March.
Okay, so this is the same firm that's been doing it for us. Everybody seems to be well pleased with the results and
Just
with their
And this
performance.
puts us in line then too, after this year, this puts us on line with the county, who's gonna also be rebidding
yeah.
for an audit.
Maybe just simply for, you know, fresh eyes and all that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Move to authorize the chair to sign the audit engagement letter.
There's support of that.
Second.
We have motion and support. Any other discussion or comment? Hearing none, I guess it's roll call.
Underwood,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Mauser.
Yes. Item M, the quit claim deed.
Okay, as you guys that were on the board probably remember, we had something come from Mark McKellar Jr.'s law firm, where they did a quit claim on some properties that was in error. So we went back and corrected it. Well, now they're in the process of building the road, and they realized instead of quit claiming the area there to us as a right of way, they just gave us the property. We don't want ownership of the property, we want it to be a right of way. So we are going to grant them back yet again, the proper piece of property, so they can then turn around and grant it back to us as a right of way. Which is what we want.
A little housekeeping.
Yes,
The whole sum of $1.
for $1, yes, which, yeah.
Who's
So-
paying the dollar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's
So-
the dollar?
so
Where's that dollar coming?
We gotta get, they gotta give us $1 to get it, but we gotta give them $1 to get it back, so it's fine.
Wash.
Where actually was this?
This is off of. I can't remember off the top of my head here real quick, but I know on the next one it talked about it.
Is
Big area down.
this Alta Vista?
Yeah, Alta Vista Holdings,
Oh, there it is. All right.
Nope, that's not.
We can go to one.
but there's your description. In East Bay Township,
That's not terribly clarifying, but.
Yeah, well, it says attached exhibit A.
That's not your backyard.
I hope not. I'm gonna need
Section
that for a
20.
board here pretty soon.
of East Bay Township.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Obviously, it sounds like this is housekeeping issue. It's not gonna cost a whole lot of money, but put things right, I guess. Do we have a motion? Sure.
Make the motion, we do the deed work that needs to be done.
We have a motion. Do we have support?
Yeah.
Carl, I think that was a Carl support. Okay. How about a roll call?
Brown,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yep.
Lehman,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Mauser.
Yes. Okay, I guess that brings us around to the blue sheet. And the blue sheet is item N, the 2021 GMC 1500 pickup trucks, plural.
Okay, these are, we're looking to purchase 3 trucks. We have one, which will be in addition to the fleet, as we have hired a new person to take care of permits since Haley is full-time on signals. But the other 2 are replacements for vehicles that have reached 100,000 miles, or will have reached 100,000 miles by the time these come in August.
And these are all part of our budget and a part
Yes.
of our management.
Our work through on vehicles.
Our vehicle asset management plan.
Yes, which will be.
Still, boy, I tell you, we do pretty good with that, don't we?
We do. I think with this My Deal purchasing, we discovered that if you look at some of our 3-year vehicles, I think it was Jim's Suburban he had, or whatever the hell
I
it
mean,
was.
to get that price, I had to kick him in the shins and.
After 3 years, Blue Book value was almost as much as what we paid for it 3 years before.
Yeah, so we did quite well on that. I mean, it costs the road commission about $4,000 a year, including fuel, to own that vehicle. So that wasn't too bad. Pretty reasonable. Because we do get a lot back on these. So, and these come from Todd Wenzel Buick. It's not like we have a choice of who's buying from. They are the My Deal rep for
My
this year.
Deal do.
Out of curiosity, what are we paying to paint these? I mean,
That comes with it. That's all the same color.
Well, a couple $100.
for the lettering, I guess.
Oh, for the lettering?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what our
I'm just-
logos are.
Just curious.
Our guys stick it all on. We've got all the stickers. They just center it up and I don't know. But there's a lot more that goes into it. It's radios is the main.
Right. Yeah,
Radios
right.
takes them long. It's radios and top lights.
Okay.
So,
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, purchase the 3 GMC 1500 4x4 trucks.
We have motion and support from Commissioner Gilman. So roll call please.
Gilman.
Yep.
Freeman.
Yes.
Underwood.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Maunder.
Yes. Okay, item 7, informational items, policy rules and handbook updates. Brad.
okay. We have been going through the policies, procedures and rules here. And we have found some very, very outdated policies that need to be updated. And as we started going through them and Jennifer looked through these, Heather looked through these, Phil looked through the financial ones and I've looked through them. We have a lot of policies that need to be updated.
Do our 2 new commissioners know who Jennifer is?
Jennifer is our consultant HR.
So our office never met her.
Okay, yes. So she is our consultant HR lady. Heather, you guys met, she did all your paperwork. But we need to address this. We need to get new policies in place, especially as we move to technology going out with people in the crew. They're gonna be taking tablets out in the field with them. We need to address that and to make sure they understand that this is for work use only. This is not something you go out there and stream movies on all day long. And they have to understand that there are other conditions that come with using. You know, when you do have to get online, you go to where you're going. You don't go out there and surf inappropriate items. You don't run a business on your personal laptop. We have nothing that addresses that right now. So you have a laptop here, you take it home. We don't have anything that says you can't run your home business off of our laptop. We need stuff like that in place. If only to say that, yes, we had it in case some liability comes up. We don't believe we've ever had an issue, but we want to make these policies all clear. My question to you is, as a board, how do you want to see this? Do you want to set up a special meeting and go through all of the policies in one time? Or do you want to set up like section by section and deal with them in regular meetings? Because I'm betting, you know, by the time you look at all these policies, you're probably looking at 5 to 6 hours of policies.
You know, that's actually not a bad idea, I think. If you take a section, bring it into a meeting, we say, okay, this is gonna be, you know, item G or whatever the heck it is for one of the meetings, and then we're gonna discuss a particular section and then take a look at the recommendations made by Jennifer and yourself and
Yeah.
staff. as far as changes go, and debate it at that point. It doesn't take our whole night up.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And then it's just-
the only other thing I would suggest is, okay, if you're gonna do it in a special meeting, you do it either on Saturday or you do it during the middle of the week where everybody can be there all day, because up 6 hours is, there's a lot of stuff here to cover. And that's,
If we had a half an hour, 15 minutes to a half an hour on a regular meeting, you know, it doesn't really, it's not gonna hurt any of us, I don't think.
Well, I assume most of these changes are probably not gonna be controversial. I mean, the ones that you mentioned seem to be pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
It's fairly simple, and the others are probably verbiage and.
well, and several of them don't necessarily belong as a policy that the board sets. They're more of managerial type thing where we're setting expectations and rules for the employees. That's really not a board function. I mean, you give us the guidelines, we'll set the policies or the procedures that fit that policy.
And now that Joan's helped you cure all the personnel problems that ever exist, I'm sure she's looking for something to do, right?
We're doing pretty well. We have done real well with the personnel so far. It's one of my things. I want to have a happy workforce. You get much better work
Yeah,
out of it.
absolutely.
Okay,
So what overall, I mean,
seems to be that do it piecemeal as we go. Anybody got any
so it'd probably be like
contradiction to that, better idea?
half hour plus for 5 months, maybe.
Does that fit in your timeline?
That's
What do you want?
It's not my time. It's your timeline. You tell me. I mean, I have some that I need to bring to you first.
Well, I think
that
the
need to
most-
be addressed.
Without being.
But then section by section, it's just a matter of cleaning them up and making sure that you are all aware. Because the policy manual is, you know, pretty thick. And then there's procedures and rules, and then there's the union contract. So we've got a lot of things that we gotta make sure gel together.
I guess most pressing first.
And then section by
As we
section.
can, I guess, is.
Yeah, that will work. That works for us.
think
It was like I said, it was either that or I'll take it all on one Saturday. But who wants to spend the whole Saturday talking about policy?
And I think we become somewhat numb and might not do as.
Okay.
good a job as being.
All right, we'll start in February. We will have it out to you probably a week and a half in advance.
Thank you.
So that you guys can actually start reviewing some of the new policies. These will mainly be new or drastically changed policies that will be coming to you based on the fact that they just are not, they don't fit within the current work environment. So we will do that, and then we will move on section by section. We'll hit finance, we'll hit personnel, we'll hit, you know, other miscellaneous things, and we'll go through them as we get through all of them ourselves, and just start setting ourselves up on a pattern that we're giving you at least enough time to review them. All right, thank you.
Okay, anything else on that matter? If not, we'll move ahead. I don't think we need any further discussion on it. Item B, manager's comments.
Okay, and I know the people that were here earlier, we mentioned it, but in about a week, we're gonna have 5 new Chromebooks for each of, one for each of you. The Apples that we have just don't have the horsepower and the oomph that we need to have to get you guys up to speed. And a Chromebook is just plain and simple cheaper overall for what we need than a chip drawing go back into an Apple. So it's also gonna give us then the opportunity to sit down with Larry a little bit. When you get time, then you can sit down with him and he can go over how the GIS works. He'll have some shortcuts already set up on your desktop so you can get in. You'll have to work with him to deal with passwords and everything else. But those will come in and he'll get those set up and we'll let you all know by email or text, however.
Because for a lot of the
gets to you.
stuff we do, these things are not it.
No, and the thing is too, it's a little bigger screen, which you're gonna need to be able to see the GIS. I mean, it's not quite that size, but it's close. You know, so you'll be able to see it for GIS, very light, they're not as heavy as old laptops used to be, so. Want to make sure everyone is aware, we will get everybody up to speed with it, and whatever level of assistance you need to get through it, we'll be here to get you through it. Carrie has started the draft on the letter to for the Paradise Township property to address with the state of Michigan. basically explaining exactly what we want, having a legal description, and exactly how this eventual potential tie into the back of the school at Kingsley would work. Those are the three things we need to have. We have to have the legal description. We have to say that there is no commercial use. And we have to say that we are taking into account the fact that we are right next to the school. And that would fit with everything that we expected, I think, when we talked about the new facility. So it should be fairly straightforward. She's gonna get back to me on Tuesday with that. And then at that point, we're also going to have a document ready to sell the house and have that house moved off lot.
There's a purchaser.
Well, no, but we'll have the document.
Ready to go.
We're gonna be ready to go. I would imagine they're not gonna want to touch it till late April.
Well, yeah.
But we'll get it. We have already a bunch of people that want just the fence, a bunch of people that want just the garage, a bunch of people that want just the house. So we'll put it together. She's writing it up, that section, to say we can decide based on our final decision how we want to break up the bids. So if someone comes in and gives us a bid for everything and says this is how much, and it's just a couple hundred or a couple thousand less than by taking three different people, yeah, get it going.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, we might actually do okay on it.
Well, I think we're gonna do
Materials are really expensive right now.
They're
Yes.
outrageous.
Yeah, and the bid, the time from like contractor selection to getting a house built, you could be 2 years out right now. I mean, they're busy as can be. They're just nonstop, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
You're turning down jobs?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I turned one down today. You know, I mean, there's just too much out there.
Too much work and not enough
And the
people.
price is not slowing people down. The price is.
That's
not-
why the price is still up.
It has not stopped the construction. The price has not slowed anybody down.
Yeah, so, and the last thing is we have received bids to seal the well on that property. So we're gonna have the well sealed before the house is moved. Because it's becoming right of way, we can't have that well just sitting there, so we have to do all that. So that will all be taken care of. Hopefully in April, we'll get the house moved and we'll start looking at things. And I think, Joe, I'm not positive. Was it the new signposts that are out on Garfield? Is that part of the detour route? Have they started marking detour route?
That is for the Garfield Road Bridge.
Yeah. So if you ever get,
Closer in.
yeah, if you get questions, Yeah.
I
There are
already
posts.
had a guy call me.
yeah, there are posts all over the place for the Garfield Road Bridge project.
I already had-
There's some right down here now. They put those in either yesterday or this
yeah,
morning.
I had a call already.
Yeah. So we are very
Is
close.
is that gonna remain open to traffic? That's not a closed detour,
Wow.
right? It is open to traffic.
I'll let Joe
Joe.
explain.
It's still fresh phase 1, phase 2. But there's pretty extensive signing due to the width at phase 1. So during phase 1, it's gonna be about a 9-foot lane to get through there. So we've got signs that start down in Kingsley and up here in Traverse City warning people. And they want to get started March 8th.
March 8th.
So they asked if they could post signs. Get an echo. They asked if they could post signs now before there's too much frost in the ground. And they're gonna stay on top of frost laws and try to get all their equipment moved up before we put frost laws in so they can get started right away.
Well, that's class A anyway. It's not gonna bother them anyways.
Well,
Well, the bridges, you can't do overweight ones. So some of their equipment, like the crane to drive sheeting, and the cofferdams on the River Road projects is overweight and they won't be able to move it.
Okay.
So they're watching the weather and about 5 weeks now. They started on those bridges.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
we haven't had snow yet, so.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah, right. Careful, Warren.
All right.
Yeah, jinxed us.
The guys would love it because the guys are tired of not beat doing what they're doing. Coming in the morning early to salt for a little bit and then going out to brush hog and then going home.
We go up and down the street, I just like, okay, guys, you know, I mean, 3 or 4 times.
They're just
What are
like,
you gonna do?
they're so tired of standing out in the
Sure.
cold brush hog and
Sure.
hauling and stuff, so. All right.
That it for managers' comments?
Mhm.
Okay, commissioners' comments, questions, and future agenda items. I'd like to kick it off here in that, with all these discussions about property and property acquisitions and right-of-ways and stuff, it seems like in the coming years, we're gonna have a lot more of it. Not only for the east-west mobility, but remembering back a couple, 3 years ago, we was talking about widening Airport Road and that there would be, right-of-way concerns and stuff, so forth, and these roundabouts of all again. And I asked Carrie if she was in for it, and she said she was, to have, I guess, a little training, I guess you'd want to call it seminar or educational process where she can come in and give the commissioners, all of us, and staff, sort of a little bit of educational update about property acquisitions. And I don't think we're too soon to be looking at the possibilities of property acquisitions in the east-west mobility situation and how to go about it. And also I had some thoughts that I kind of threw her way as far as some creative property acquisition, such as if there's a parcel, let's say, I don't know, 100 acres, and it belongs to theoretically a well-known family that is grazing. And we only needed 66 feet of it.
Right.
That if there's some way we couldn't come up with some creative way to get our right of way and maybe look for grant money to get the whole thing and turn it into parks or nature areas and so forth. So it'd be preserved and this
Maybe
canard
work with them
about
on
urban sprawl could be put aside. And also help with costs as far as looking at other properties, because we will be picking a site or a route years ahead of when an actual bridge construction will take place. And if we can approach property owners, soften the blow a little bit and say, hey, guess what? Our road's coming through where your house is, and soften the blow, we'll buy it now and you can live here real cheap or free for 3 years or 5 years or something, to make the acquisitions as painless as possible. And I don't know legally how far we can go and how creative we can get, but I'd like to start that process as soon as possible, because some of these grant applications and so forth can take years. But I think we all could, wouldn't hurt to come up to speed and just, look at everything from top to bottom and crazy to make sense to start the process. The other thing I guess I want to say is that, despite what some people feel, when you become appointed to a board or commission, you do not leave your constitutional rights at the door. And otherwise, I guess we'll go around, start Joe.
I'm glad the Kingsley project's moving ahead. I don't know how long that's gonna take on the other end, but it sounds like we've got info that we need to have to them, and so sounds like things are progressing.
Yeah, we are just if anybody else is interested, Wednesday at 10 o'clock next week, we are going to be meeting Grand Traverse to do kind of a meet and greet of who all their people are and, what their approach is going to be to deal with this project.
So for the new commissioners, that was put out as a design build proposal. We received, 7?
Yes.
7 or 8 proposals, went through them, graded them, and selected Grand Traverse Construction as our design build selection.
And there was one other company that was close and the others were kind of like off. So we were comfortable with them. I think it was the unanimous selection when we did.
I believe it was, yes. Each, everybody, I think I was part of that. Brad, Bill, Joe,
Wayne was there, Dan was there.
and Dan. So there's about 6 or 7.
Carl was there too.
There were 6 or 7, 8 people who went through all the proposals, graded them independently. The scores were added up, and Grand Traverse was selected as being the best proposal to build the design build.
And I don't know if the two commissioners been out in the Kingsley facility at all, but We've outgrown that lot size there, and it's swampland behind and power line behind. Definitely no room to expand there. And the building is in very, very poor condition, but it's 60 years old.
More than that, I think.
It was
Yeah,
60
late
years
fifties,
before.
maybe.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's definitely, well, and the problem with it is when you can walk up to it and you can see through the blocks.
yeah,
That's the problem.
it's showing its age. So.
Okay, any?
I'm done.
Carl's done, good, Jason.
I just, I think we're in the midst of a pretty substantial time for the road commission in terms of things that are happening. I mean, this board is probably gonna see some, you know, in all likelihood, we're gonna see the establishment of a route, in our term. We've got the new facility in Kingsley that's gonna be built on our watch. Hammond Road is essentially being rebuilt as we speak. A lot of stuff going down, so that's pretty good. The call earlier about Bluff Road, I'm hearing optimism in their voices, and clearly they're taking the lead by going ahead and planning their mitigation strategies for their shoreline. That's good, because that's good for us too. And so certainly, as you pointed out, I think we're more than eager to work with them and help, you know, give them access as much as we can to make that hurt less than it could.
And it's still going to be a lengthy process.
It is what it is. It is what it is. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to our final public comment. So, Joe, do we have anybody online or hand raised or any indication?
There are still people on, but no hands raised yet.
Do you want me to read again?
Go ahead and read it again. That'll give them time to respond if they wish.
I'll give them 30 seconds.
Any person may make an advanced appointment with the board regarding road commission topics for a regular or special meeting in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. If an appointment is made, the topic will be an agenda item. The following applies to public comment. Please state his or her name and address. Topic must be relevant to the road commission. Individuals are allowed to speak once for up to 3 minutes on a single topic, which may be extended by the chair. A group addressing the board requires a designated spokesperson who may speak up to 10 minutes. The board will not act on any item from the public that is not on the agenda. For Zoom, if you wish to speak, you can raise your hand. Callers, we can unmute you, and if you wish to speak, say yes.
There are no callers, no hands raised right now.
Give me 10 more seconds.
No.
We're good.
Okay, that would bring us to the end of public comment. Item 9, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Support.
And we are adjourned. No roll call that.